Speaking of Israel, How to Defend Genocide by Bad Empanada. A lot of people wanted me to watch this. Apparently, this is a very good analysis on broader points on Israel doing a genocide in Gaza, but then also simultaneously covering it from the drama angle. I think that Bad Empanada is doing a good job of like using the drama angle to get people's attention to issues that truly matter. Now, Bad Empanada, I do not agree with a lot of the things that he says. As a matter of fact, I would say I agree with nothing that he says on Twitter. Bad Empanada also is not a fan of mine in many instances and has said that I am not sufficiently pro-Palestine and that I f***ed up by going to the DNC or something like that. I don't know. He's a bit crazy. He's out there. But even though we might have our disagreements, certainly, I've always maintained the position that his work on YouTube stands on its own. His YouTube essays are fantastic, and they're well sourced and well researched for the most part.
This video was made possible thanks to my supporters on Patreon and Ko-fi. If you like it and you'd like to see more like it, consider heading over there and supporting me yourself. This is Israel's self-appointed lawyer, the YouTuber Lonerbox. He has taken it upon himself to do every possible thing that he can to defend Israel's Gaza genocide. You're about to see him attempt his best defense of the revelation from a New York Times investigation that Israeli soldiers have intentionally been massacring.
That motherfucker defended? No. There is no fucking way this dude literally defended the babies with bullets lodged into their goddamn brains, dude. That is, holy moly, that is
children
crazy.
In droves via single precise shots to the head. Multiple doctors and nurses who spent time serving in Gaza hospitals during the genocide attested to the fact that between them, they had seen many dozens, upwards of 100.
Dude, my statement on this remains, okay? You never get punished if you are wrong, but wrong in the direction of whatever America's foreign policy interests are. Never, ever, ever. You can just be wrong literally all the time, but as long as you have as long as you are repeating institutional messages, as long as you're repeating American foreign policy goals, it literally does not matter. No one tracks it as like, damn, dude, I keep listening to you and I keep finding myself wrong all the time.
And they provided the New York Times with x-rays that show these injuries, as well as photographic evidence, which the Times considered too graphic to publish, of these children's gunshot wounds to the head. The evidence that this is a systemic practice of the Israeli military in Gaza is quite overwhelming. So how does a pro-genocide propagandist deal with this? Let's take a look. Here is the reaction of Israel's lawyer to seeing political commentator Mehdi Hassan bring this up in a debate.
3 American doctors went to Gaza. Dr. Fayaz Sidwa, Dr. Irfan Galaria, and a Jewish American doctor called Dr. Mark Perlmutter. All of them came back at separate times, said children were brought into hospitals we were in with gunshot to the head, sniper shots. Perfect. Exact targets. There is no tunnel that justifies shooting toddlers in the head. Israeli snipers.
Does this guy not know how sniping jobs work? Like, the problem with sniping isn't, like, the accuracy is not because obviously you got your scope and yeah, it's quite easy. You can accurately snipe, but targets and personnel move really, really fast when you're sniping. Like, snipers make their decisions in less than a split second in combat situations.
Child's heads are really hard to target in an active combat situation. Excuse me. Children's heads are way harder to target, so we should be celebrating. Like, what the f is the point here? What? Okay. Yeah, they're precise. That's the point.
Unless he's suggesting there were just a couple of kids sitting on the hill.
No, they were running. Okay? They were running. And a sniper utilized their precise targeting capabilities to shoot them in the head.
The guy opposite in a building just went, got him, take him out.
And I'm fairly certain that that is what happened. This is the guy who clip chimps you to the liberals, and they quote tweeted all day, by the way, and the level of crazier haters adhere to. Yeah, I have not given a fuck about all my haters as long as they had like normal positions on this, but it seems like I was wrong, and it seems like I was incredibly wrong on Lonerbox having like relatively decent positions on Israel. Holy shit, this is maxed out.
Maybe someone committed a war crime. But I don't think that's Israeli policy, is to snipe kids for no reason. To snipe toddlers, but okay.
Oh, it's just an
Okay.
accident. You know, it's just, guys, this is just a happy accident, an unhappy accident. You don't understand, you fool.
Okay, so the rebuttal there is that apparently this is just happening by accident. Israeli snipers are accidentally shooting hundreds of kids in the head because
A pattern observable by healthcare professionals, so commonplace that it is a pattern that healthcare professionals that went and worked on the field observed it independently of one another, so much so that they all were like shocked when they revealed this information to one another. So much so that even the New York Times wrote an article about it when, you know, they've played a pretty formative role in actively undermining any kind of like humanity that Palestinians may have. I would love to find out what he thinks about like why the New York Times wrote this article then, like it's just a unfortunate accident that has played itself over, you know, hundreds of times. Like, it doesn't have to be official policy. That's not how this works. When you create a killing field, it doesn't matter. You just let loose whatever kind of violent behavior that your occupying forces are engaging in. That's how you arrive at like triple tapping a humanitarian aid convoy that is there engaging in deconfliction with the Israeli government at that time. That's what happened with World Central Kitchen. It's not a fucking oopsie, all right? It's not. It is disordered deliberately in order to have some shred of plausible deniability, I guess.
let's refer back to that one again to see how he dealt with the 40 beheaded babies claim.
Again, this is why it's like the 40 beheaded babies. That hoax was not an Israeli, like, I think there's a better way to put it. The 40 beheaded babies was not actually an Israeli government hoax. It wasn't. It was a misspeak from a journalist that was spread around the world by a few nutters, and then the people who really made it last were people who were anti-Israel. They were the ones who spread that.
Dog, Joe Biden. Am I crazy? What? Joe Biden, the anti-Israeli nutter. Look alive, Jack. Israel. The Zionist entity must be dismantled piece by piece. Look alive. The Mujahideen. That's the way I see myself. One struggle, united. That's why I'm spreading this pro-Israeli propaganda, because I'm anti-Israel down the line. I've seen the videos. We beat Medicare.
The first part of this strategy here is not a very advanced one. It's known as lying. This was spread by the State of Israel. It was spread by Alon Levy, their official spokesman at the time. It was spread all over official Israeli social media. It was spread by Netanyahu's personal spokesperson.
When you listed the unconscionable atrocities that took place in that kibbutz, you did say that babies had been decapitated. Can I take that as confirmation then? Because that currently is being reported as reported action. That has actually happened, as it
Toddlers, babies, I can tell you.
Yeah, these guys are all anti-Israeli, actually. Like, that's what it is. Bad empanada, you don't understand. You don't understand. These are anti-Israeli nutters.
That they, some of them, heads were cut off. This is what we're hearing from from soldiers.
Yeah, they're just like deep undercover, I think.
On the ground, and yes, they cut off heads. They cut off heads.
Which was then seen by US President Joe Biden, who then repeated the claim uncritically in a press conference.
I've been doing this a long time. I never really thought that I would see and have confirmed pictures of terrorists beheading children.
Dude, oh my God. Post-truth world, no more truth, no more facts. F it, YOLO.
But if you thought that was bad, how about we move on to one of Lonerbox's best friends and frequent collaborators, the streamer Destiny. Topically, he had some comments to make about the self-evidently absurd 40 beheaded babies propaganda, in which he just uncritically accepted Israeli propaganda entirely at its word.
The beheaded baby one, it was mostly factually correct, right? There were 40 dead babies, at least one was decapitated.
I'm sorry, what? Once again, I will repeat my position. You can be correct every single time, but if you are against American foreign policy, they will never let you live it down. They will say you're a terrorist, but you can be wrong literally every single day. You can be wrong every single day, and you will not get punished for it at all. I'm shocked. My lack of interest in like covering the dumb shit that this loser has been saying is bad. It's a mistake. I think. I'm glad that Bad Empanada has taken on the task.
They weren't all 40 decapitated, right? But so it's mostly correct, not 40 beheaded babies, just 40 dead babies with a few of their heads cut off, right?
So much for it only being hung on to by those dastardly anti-genocide people, huh?
It was a misspeak from a journalist that was spread around the world by a few fucking nutters.
Now let's compare the standard of evidence that Destiny has for accepting ridiculous claims made by Israelis with the standard of evidence that he applies to literal video evidence of Palestinians being executed right before his eyes by the Israeli military.
I don't think the beheaded babies thing is worth talking about anymore. What matters is the actual harm that's being done to the Palestinians right now. I know it might be fun to be right, but like I don't think it's super important right now. Are you stupid? This is not just about the beheaded baby shit. This is about an anatomy of defending genocide and how people get away with defending genocide. None of this is fun, by the way.
Now, I can't show the context for the clip that he is reacting to here for fear of potentially getting this video taken down by YouTube.
They're so used to being in their own little echo chambers. The second the spotlight is on them, it just speaks for itself. Yeah, I think this is the video that got Mike banned. Be careful. Yeah, what he said while watching the video is what it got him banned, not the contents of the video.
For showing someone literally dying. But I will describe it to you and there will be a link in the description. A reporter for the British news outlet ITV approaches a group of people in an Israeli-declared safe zone for civilians. These people are holding a white flag and waving it in order to make it clear to any Israeli troops that they are civilians. The reporter interviews a few of them. They explain that they are evacuating because, as is clear from the billowing smoke and gunshots which can be heard in the background, the supposed safe zone is no longer safe. Having interviewed the men, the interviewer turns around and leaves. Suddenly, Israeli troops begin firing on this group, and they hit one of them, killing him instantly. He is pulled aside behind cover by his companions, where they are joined by other civilians who are also evacuating. Amidst their screams and cries as they realize that he is dead, the Israeli soldiers begin to fire on them again. To reiterate, again, this was a group of civilians, including children, who were waving white flags. They had done everything that Israel had told them to do. They were in an Israeli-declared safe area, and they were in the process of evacuating to a different safe area. So what did Destiny think about this? Well,
the interview complete, our cameraman walked away.
So like what? So he is interviewing the guy who's about to go do some shit to get himself killed, basically. That's what's going to happen. We know from this point, that's what's going to happen. So he walks away, gets back a little bit, and then he sets up behind this thing, right? Is this concealment, I guess? Not cover, concealment, right? Because I think the tank's over here. So now he can capture the footage right here. He sees the guys walking, knowing that they're about to get shot, because that's what's going to happen. And then eventually they get shot and everything is, this is it. It's like act 1, 2, and 3. It's like all here. Now this guy is down. He's dead. These guys are like...
and fatally wounded.
They're not even like... They're not even running. They're not even like cowering and running away and screaming in fear. There's like, okay, well, they did it. We got our shots. Okay, is this guy done? Oh, shit. Well, okay. Well, we brought the white flag, so we can put that over the bleeding part, assuming he got shot and is actually right.
Flag
and then this guy, what, is this guy running back to grab the wife?
By this stage, the man's wife, his widow, has heard what happened.
And then, like, what does this mean? The wife has heard what happened. Like, bro, this is crazy. I'm sorry. The tracking live movement shot of the lady running up to her dead husband? Like, what is this?
By this stage, the man's wife, his widow, has heard what happened.
Somebody went back and told her, right? The 5 martyrs that walked forward, you know, your husband was the unlucky guy. He drew the short stick today, so come forward, cry for us on camera. Do you think the guy intentionally wanted to get killed? No, I don't think he wanted to die. I don't think they were thinking they were going to die, but they probably were hoping to get shot at, or maybe, so you're saying the woman was acting? I don't think the woman was acting. She probably was sincerely sad. Her husband got killed, but I think they were farming TikTok clips. I mean, remember, these people, we actually, yeah, like have suicide bombers. So it's not that big of a stretch to imagine that they would be willing to get shot. However, now I haven't gone down this road because this is way more, it would require me to make a lot more assumptions, but it's also possible he didn't get shot, right? Now, do we know the name?
Dude, this is, I think Destiny is sincerely one of the worst human beings I've ever encountered. And what makes matters even crazier right now is that I'm certain that his brigaders are in the chat, actively farming the chat to probably try and clip something to be like, see, Hasan's community wants to like do harm to Destiny or something, devoid of the context of what he is saying here, in a way that they will try to propagandize a position that makes, in their minds, Destiny look good. Like, this statement is so insane. He called your community terrorist supporters. I know, which is wild. He is a genocide supporter, not even a denier at that point, just a genocide supporter. I mean, we already know that. This is the classic clip. This is when he
thinks the right move.
Arrived at his position ahead of time before looking at all the Wikipedia pages that would then, in his mind, defend Israel's genocide of Palestinians.
Honestly, I'm pro-genocide. Like, it sounds really but like, I think that Israel should just draw its borders about where it is now, and basically Palestinians can go live in another place. That's really but like, that's about where I'm at.
You just think the Palestine should just pack up and Native American the fuck out of there?
The problem is that it seems like there is a hugely general hostility to Jewish people across really the entire world, but definitely the Middle East. So the problem is that as you weaken Israel's like ability for Jewish people to live there, it seems like there is because there's a lot of different organizations across the Middle East that are highly invested in the destruction of Israel. So that's like a really rough thing too. So it seems like if Israel is forced to make concessions to Palestinians, it threatens Jewish people's ability to have a homeland. And so I don't know. It's really truthfully the answer is like there's no good answer.
Oh, this was before this corresponds to that early position that he took. He took such a strong position that he had to defend it, you know?
The guy, is he actually dead? Do we even know if this is his wife? These are a whole bunch of questions that would be valid. Now, if I was way more on the pro-Zionist side, I would be asking those questions. Who is this guy? Do we even know if he's actually dead? Like, we don't actually see the wound. It seems like they don't have any problem showing anything else. Like, why just the white flag so that it can look all bloody? Like, show us the actual gunshot. You have no problem showing other violence, right? What Pallywood means is that you're capturing intentional video footage to sell a certain narrative about what's going on, basically. So Pallywood might be, this, right? So the idea is that like 4 innocent civilians are like walking up and you just want like a clip here of the idea of shooting them for no reason because they're civilians with white flags. And you kind of ignore the fact that like, okay, well, they're in a battle zone in an area they were told to evacuate from, and they're going back to try to release somebody that
they're in a safe zone. They have white flags. Israel should not have shot them. That's incredible. That is, I mean, Pallywood, for those of you who don't know, is the unimaginably racist genocide denial theory that like all Palestinians that are killed deliberately either lie and they're not actually killed at all, or they deliberately try to get themselves killed in front of cameras so that people will hate Israel. And the quickest solution to that, which seemingly no defender of Israel ever arrives at, is don't fucking kill them. Pallywood ranges from the dead children that are on camera are actually toys. They're not real babies. It's fake. To a number of different psychotic conspiracies, which the Israeli government itself has routinely repeated, by the way.
It was captured. Like, that's like Pallywood, I think. You're essentially provoking the enemy to take what is largely a justified action.
Yeah, largely a justified action. Provoking the enemy for, you know, being Palestinian within the crosshairs of Israel is a death sentence. You should have just not been there. You should have personally self-exiled. Provoking the enemy in a safe zone while being unarmed and waving a white flag around your children.
And then trying to say that it's like indiscriminate civilian killing. It's like a setup. It's not fake, but they're doing it to themselves. You're dehumanizing yourself. You're suiciding and sacrificing your civilian population.
Did you get that? Did you digest what was just said there? Taking it in? The Palestinian civilians were asking for it. By trying to make a...
I even think that it's funny because like he moves on to his community trolling because like that one pro-Palestinian protester, there was a fan of mine came up to me and was like, Arnar, why are you drinking Karg? That's it. That's the limit. That's the engagement that and the care and consideration Destiny has and his community has for this ongoing genocide, which is fun memes, drama, shitting on whoever the fuck you think is against your position, after just doing genocide denial. Like he just straightforwardly was like, yeah, these people are suiciding themselves. And then he moves on and he's like, look at how stupid this guy is. I need you to understand, because like he can just snap back from that to this because he doesn't give a
themselves. Well, you're dehumanizing yourself. You're suiciding and sacrificing your civilian population.
You digest what was just said there, taking it in. The Palestinian civilians were asking for it. By trying to make a crossing in an officially Israeli...
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, like a lot of right-wingers say horrifying shit on a regular basis, but I feel like there are probably right-wing commentators that wouldn't even go this far. You know what I mean? There are plenty who do, and it's insane that Destiny is like, no, I'm a liberal. Like I love Joe Biden. I'm a liberal. I love Kamala Harris. Why won't the Democratic Party invite me to the DNC? I'm a Democrat who, you know, is pro Kyle Rittenhouse, pro white supremacists, killing Black Lives Matter protesters, anti-trans. Yeah.
He declared safe zone for civilians, no less. They are responsible for their own murder. It's their fault for walking around with a white flag while being so Palestinian in the vision of an Israeli soldier. Much like Lonerbox, his very first instinct when he is confronted with overwhelming evidence of the state which he unconditionally supports committing...
Apparently he was actually invited to the DNC, not sure how true though. Okay.
...war crimes. When said evidence renders outright denial impossible, the first thing that comes to mind for him is to blame the victims for their own deaths. He literally, unironically...
Is he not ironically exactly what the Dem Party leaned into? Brother, I don't think you understand. Saying the quiet part out loud like this is offensive. There is a point of permissible bigotry. And when you go beyond it, even your own supporters will say, ew, that's gross. That's my point. Now, not everyone pays attention to everything that's going on all the fucking time. But when you got a fucking dude who's like defending ethical CP and shit, okay, in his mind, or saying stuff like this, for example.
I called you a pedo yesterday.
So some kids are really
they
hot.
Dug in deep.
Oh.
But they were trying to call you a pedo yesterday.
So some kids are really hot.
They dug in deep.
Oh.
Like, I know he's being sarcastic here, you know? I get it. I understand. But it's so gross. Do you understand?
It happened in the same day.
Like, you only do this if you want to be edgy and you're a dark humor enjoyer.
That I was getting accused of wanting to kill babies, like wanting to snipe them or whatever in Israel.
Some babies are really annoying.
But it's like, how's it that we're both aligned then? If like you want to rape the kids and I want to kill them?
I'm a necrophilic pedophile.
That's the holy standard.
After you kill them, I have my way with them.
Yeah, dark edgy jokes, man. Dark edgy jokes. Like, it's over. You are a unimaginably toxic person. You only feel comfortable saying this shit, even as a goddamn joke, if you are so echo chamber, so hugboxed into believing that like everyone in the normal world that will encounter some of your sentiment is just as edgy as you are. It's all Groyper losers or former 4chan losers who are now, you know, still doing the same shit. But now they say they're liberals.
To begin with, it's either that or just outright denying that it happened. The evidence is fake. It's Pallywood, as our friend Destiny so graciously called it. It's a Hamas conspiracy to delegitimize Israel, stuff like that. Then once that argument inevitably falls over, they move on to what Lonerbox tried in that first clip. Okay, so it did happen, but there is an accident or there is some other explanation for it. Then when that doesn't work out, they move on to claiming, okay, so it wasn't an accident, and maybe there isn't a good explanation for it, but that's not representative.
Why is this guy elevated to any sort of level whatsoever when he says loser, 4chan basement dweller type shit? He presents himself as like a liberal pretty well in debate situations, and in short TikTok clips, like short TikTok style clips, he can appear normal. But the reason why he has an audience is because there are a lot of people who like this kind of thing. There are a lot of edgy losers out there, and most people that maybe watch some of his debates or whatever that are like, damn, I kind of like what this guy has to say, will very quickly find out what he's all about and will be grossed out by it. But no, I don't think he is not a leftist, and his community is not leftist either. I wouldn't even say he's liberal. I think he's just a mercenary. There's never been a moment where he's actually had any broad popularity beyond like being astroturfed and brigaded into every subreddit. His Twitter community does this on a regular basis. His fan base is basically a cult. That's it. And also being loved by Twitter, you know, that does make sense. I mean, Twitter is edgy as shit. Dude, this man has had a very public online career since like, what, 2008 or some shit? He has only compounded on the hatred and the disgusting actions since then. And he will never stop because for the most part, like it's so overwhelming. It's so freakish. And most people don't have the time to basically pay attention to all the things that he's done.
Of the conduct of the Israeli military overall, please ignore the endless evidence that it is. It's got nothing to do with the Israeli government or systematic Israeli policy. It's just one or two guys doing some bad stuff, you know? Then when none of that works...
By the way, what he's detailing right here is basically the same strategy that even mainstream outlets employ, for the record. And I think that's part of it as well.
Lonerbox has a particular disdain for Mehdi Hasan, by the way. You can see that in this clip.
I will happily support this pin because I support the release of all the hostages and let me finish. And I support the release of thousands of Palestinian detainees being raped and tortured and children. Do you support that? Let's wear it together. Do you support the release? Do you support the release of Palestinians?
I do not support,
do you support the release
of terrorists.
Of Palestinian children? Do you support the release of Palestinian children?
Does he why is he? Oh God, what a creep, man. Again, you can talk about the unlawfulness of the imprisoning, but like the Palestinians who are imprisoned in Israeli centers are not imprisoned like randomly.
Of thousands of Palestinian detainees.
Oh, Israel said there was valid reason for it, so it must be correct. This is the benefit of a state doing the unjustifiable versus an organization that is not a functioning state, basically. No, the process of administrative detention, even though it's done within the state's legal boundaries, is unjustifiable. Slavery was also institutionally protected, and so was the apartheid in South Africa.
Detainees being raped and tortured and children. Do you support?
So, Mehdi Hasan mentions that Palestinians are being kidnapped from Gaza by the IDF, put into concentration camps in Israel, and then systematically starved, tortured, and mass raped. A practice that we mostly know about because many of the torture and rape victims were released without any charge, showing that even Israel thinks that they were innocent of whatever it is that Israel initially accused them of. Lonerbox's immediate reaction to this is to laugh. He smiles, he laughs, he's like, oh my God, not this bullshit again. And then he goes on to say that the tortured and raped prisoners, including children...
The irony of having General Strike Now and Kick Fascism posters behind you as you defend a fascist state and its genocidal ambitions, its genocidal actions, is crazy. Like, the irony is thick there, okay?
As Mehdi Hasan specifically mentioned, children had it coming. They deserved it. Israel wouldn't just torture and rape anyone, right?
The Palestinians who are imprisoned in Israeli centers are not imprisoned like randomly.
You notice how he called Mehdi Hasan a creep for mentioning that?
Do you support the release of Palestinian children?
Does he why is he? Oh God, what a creep, man.
As if his own position is not accurately defined as one that can only come from a creep. The disdain for Hasan is palpable, and the reason for that is pretty simple. Mehdi Hasan drives liberal Zionists like this absolutely mad, because he's essentially what they pretend to be. Hasan has a long history of being a partisan for Western imperialism, of denouncing any resistance against it, including Palestinian resistance to Israel.
Low-key, that's the point. Like, Mehdi Hasan is so moderate in all of his positions and such a loyal soldier when he needs to be with respect to the Democratic Party and defending the Democratic Party. This is precisely the reason why liberal Zionists fucking hate him more than anybody else. That's why they like lose their minds, because he holds up the yellow pin, the pin, without addressing its propagandistic purpose. Here's Dio a couple years ago saying the opposite of what he believes now. Just know you're not crazy for ever associating with him. No, I know. He used to be he used to criticize Israel, but then he decided that he personally decided that it's better for him to be a edgy contrarian because he has no real positions. That's my point. And back then, he still didn't have all the facts, but it doesn't matter. He doesn't need all the facts to make convincing arguments. That's it.
But liberal Zionists like Lonerbox, like Destiny, are hyper committed to defending Israel, no matter what.
I don't even think Destiny's a liberal Zionist. I'm gonna be honest. I think Lonerbox might be, but I don't think Destiny is.
These people are abhorrent, disgusting genocide propagandists. Everyone already knew that about Destiny, but if you've only been exposed to Lonerbox through his main channel content,
I used to watch Lonerbox when he first started. He was just a leftist YouTuber. Then when Ukraine happened, he like positioned himself as the anti-Assam because he made a mistake. I stopped watching, obviously. Yeah. When he was reacting to your debate with Asman, he didn't critique Asman at all. He just shit on your takes. Yeah. I mean, these guys like try to reposition what it means to be like progressive or a leftist. And seemingly enough, it's always just like whoever is truly a progressive or truly a liberal or truly a leftist, those people are bad. Think about the endless amount of smear campaigns that I've withstood where, you know, people have actively tried to get me deplatformed over and over again for standing true to my values, my beliefs, and never stopping my criticisms of Israel because Israel is an apartheid state and that Israel is doing a genocide. Now, on the other hand, no such efforts exist for these guys, you know, not bad empanada. No such effort of deplatforming will exist ever if you just simply say the most unhinged shit in defense of Israel.
and you might not have known that about him. As I said, his ideology is one called liberal Zionism. It's one that I have spoken about before in a video of mine, which I made more than a year before October 7th and the Gaza genocide. If you would like more information about how people like him use the false idea that they are pro-Palestinian when they are very clearly anti-Palestinian and pro-Israel to pull in people who are sympathetic to the Palestinian cause, but who don't know quite enough about it to realize that it's all.
This is the best part of this video. I think people don't understand this because they're like uninitiated, but that's why I'm extra annoyed. I'm extra annoyed with like fucking people who masquerade as liberals, right? But then have a number of different positions that are so inconsistent with even like liberalism or the Democratic Party. It's the Tim Pool strategy, but done better. Tim Pool also claims to be a liberal all the time, but like we at this point we all recognize he's not, right? Say what you will, but V is not a Zionist. Lamau, I don't think he is. I don't know what Bad Empanada is talking about. I don't even know anything about this fucking video. I don't really care about any of this stuff. I don't know the extent of Bad Empanada's positions, but he's literally also criticized me in the past for not being sufficiently pro-Palestine. So, you know, it doesn't matter to me. The VTuber is the Zionist in that video. Oh, okay, yeah.
Point is, don't be duped by these people. They have shown their whole ass. It was already obvious to me as someone who is very well versed on this topic beforehand, before the Gaza genocide, but now it is absolutely undeniable. You simply cannot watch people like this making those sorts of arguments and seriously argue that they are not simply anti-Palestinianists interested in doing whatever part they can to spread propaganda and enable an ongoing genocide to continue. We can only hope that a day where these people will be held to account, brought to justice for their clear-as-day genocide propaganda will come. Thanks for watching. Free Palestine. Thanks for watching.
The funniest criticism he has made of you is that you don't directly fund Hamas. Yeah, go support this fucking dipshit that I do appreciate, regardless of my disagreements with him on his optics and the ways that he conducts himself with regular frequency. Because ultimately, his product, his YouTube essays as a standalone entity is always solid. I mean, it's very well sourced. It's a fantastic educational resource. To be fair, the first time I heard about Lonerbox was years ago when Bad Empanada defended you because Lonerbox wanted Twitch to ban you for your chat being too pro-China. Wait, what? Lonerbox wanted me to be banned because my chat was too pro-China? These people are so delusional, brother. Read a foreign policy magazine article for once in your goddamn lives. Like, if you think I'm pro-China, listen to Michael Bloomberg talk about China. It's also so weird because it's not like hate speech or anything. It's just, you know how like right-wingers, Nazis will always be like, oh, you just want to ban me because you disagree with me. That's literally what these guys are doing. They're just like, oh, I disagree with your positions and I refuse to understand where you're coming from. And I'm going to shamelessly act like in my position of ignorance that you are actually in favor of things that you might not even be in favor of. And then I'm going to demand you get banned for it. It's not like I'm saying insane shit. It's not like I'm saying shit like, oh, genocide is good or anything. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Sorry, praising America's geopolitical enemies is hate speech. In parentheses, you're Americophobic. That's literally what it comes down to. What is this? Should he be
There's
banned?
many prominent, nominally...
Should Twitch streamers be banned if their chats defy official Western narratives? Apparently, the answer is yes. That's tanky and ooh for some reason. Drone simping is fine, though. What? What is this?
Of Ukraine, and the Chinese person was speaking, and Hassan's chat went ballistic, like China simping, like tanky, like no genocide, ooh woo.
Why does he talk like this, for one? This is exactly what I mean. This is the...
LB been making hate vids of Hassan for years. He's just finding out what the wrong with this guy, man. I'm learning so much about these people who apparently have been... Like, I've DM'd this guy in the past because I saw his video on Benjamin Netanyahu. I have found out about other pro-Palestinian content creators he collaborated with in the past. Like small content creators that he brought up in his videos. Like Beast Process. That's weird, man. As a former Lonerbox viewer, he's just jealous. That's it. That's the entire guy. Is it personal jealousy or is it jealousy that he is channeling from Destiny? Because simply put, that's where a lot of the Destiny resentment comes from. Jealousy. Jealousy that he feels as though he carved a space for politics on Twitch. And then I came in and he was no longer the golden boy. He just could never give up on that. And worst of all, when I left his community entirely, because there was a point, it's embarrassing to admit, but there was a point where I thought like he was one of these like people who had redeemed themselves, right? I was wrong. But yeah, I don't think there's a reason to try and find anything beyond what Destiny himself has openly recognized in this clip that you guys found. That's
Stop
crazy.
platforming people that are not supporting your candidates. You are private political parties. You're supposed to be self-interested, okay? The whole reason you have superdelegates and shit is to protect your elections, right? Stop inviting people to your events that hate your candidates. Don't do that. Stop doing that. It's retarded. Stop highlighting these people. Stop platforming these people. Stop spotlighting these people. Let them go to is it SDA, the Socialist Democratic Party of America? Let them go do events with those people. Jesus. Why would you cuck out so hard at these losers? Hassan shouldn't be anywhere near the DNC. Brianna Joy Gray, I don't know if she gets invited to shit. Nobody for Breaking Points, Kyle Kulinski included. I'm sorry. Maybe actually.
I like that he's the one who's like deciding, like in his mind, guy who doesn't even know what the the DSA is deciding who gets to be invited to the DNC. Like, why won't they listen to me, man? What the I am the ultimate decider of who gets to go, please. Me, I didn't go, but
I'll give him. He's a little over the wall for me. Maybe he could come back though.
Oh, never mind. He said maybe Kyle Kulinski can come back. Oh, thank God.
Yeah, anybody related to I don't know where Sam Cedar was. Actually, Sam Cedar is so poisoned by the people around him that, no, even he shouldn't be anywhere. Yeah, none of these people should be anywhere near. Because if you're...
Damn, Sam Cedar disinvited from the DNC.
If you're the Democratic Party, you have to support the people that are supporting you, okay? Like, one of the things that you guys... I hate being a cock. I hate being a cuckoo. But I have to remind you guys of this, okay? I have to remind you guys, you have to understand this, okay? Because you take me for granted, all right? You take my psychological tenacity for granted. It is incredibly difficult to be out there on your own, okay? With no major backing, no major political communities.
Who's he talking to? His ego is out of control, dude. Like, I don't even know who the he's talking to when he says, like, y'all don't appreciate me. I don't know, maybe his own community. He also said he got invited to DNC, but he turned it down. Oh, okay. Good move. I don't know if he actually did, but who gives a
So if you're the Democratic Party and you're backing people that hate your candidates and you're not providing any support to people that support your candidates, what the give these people support? It doesn't have
What do you mean? Harry Hassan was mobbed up, dude.
to be me, although it should be.
Would you ever go back to the DNC after they treated you? Yeah, why wouldn't I? Chad, I want to go to the fucking RNC too. What are you talking about?